Hey friends, welcome back to part 2 of the Q&A with this guy, Andrew, my husband. We did part 1 last week, so you can check back. I'll put the video link in the description box if you want to check that out. But we're just going to go ahead and get started with some more of the questions that you guys asked. Where do you see your family in the next 10 years? Location, goals, etc. I'll let you take over that one.
Yeah, no, I suppose in that one, I do hope that we have a nice piece of property in the next, like 5 years or so, and then working toward making an operating farm. Obviously, I know that takes a lot of work and a bit of time, but that is my goal. Where that ends up being, don't know.
Are you city or country people? I'm more of a city person.
Well, so here's the thing. So yeah, I'm definitely a country person. So
I'm not really a city person either, to be honest.
So
I'm like a suburbs person.
And I'm like a boondocks person.
Yes. Like out in the middle of nowhere where you can't see any of your neighbors.
You can't see anybody, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where
Yeah,
if you
because I'm not a city
break
person.
your leg, you're gonna die. Like that's where
Oh
I'd
my
like to be.
goodness. Yeah, I am not that extent of a country person.
But,
although, I don't know, like I'm not really a city person. I think I'm actually more of a country person than a city person. Just not country like your country.
Yes. But I think we've come to like an understanding at least of each other where we'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Somewhere out in the country, but not like in the middle of nowhere.
Perfect. I like it. Do you have any pets, and would you ever consider having one? We're gonna get a farm, so.
Yeah. Just,
we don't have any pets.
No, we don't have any pets. We also, not a huge fan of animals inside the house. Mm-hmm. For one, we don't have a lot of extra space in our house.
So outdoor animals would be perfect.
Yeah, but I'm just not a huge fan.
We have chickens in the summer. That's a lot of pets.
Yeah. And now we've eaten some of our pets, so there's that.
This is interesting. Who is the disciplinarian in your home? I feel like we're pretty equal.
We are pretty equal, yeah. Yeah.
There's, I mean, maybe it depends on the situation, but there's no ooh, I better ask mom because she's the one who's going to give me this and dad might not. I would say there's not that.
No, there isn't that. I don't know if that's disciplinarian. That's just
it's not, but
who's more lenient.
More strict, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm around, I try to do that. Kind of, I feel like that should be my role, but obviously, I'm just not around all the time, and so.
Yeah. Do you, like Julie, also enjoy working out regularly? Fitness and nutrition are obviously very important to her. Just curious if you do the same. I mean, look at him. Can I answer?
Well, I mean, I do work out. I work out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He works out at a gym at work. So you take more time off from working out than I do. I kind of work out.
I do.
Regularly. And you'll be hour-long workouts 3-4 days a week or whatever.
Yeah. When I'm at home, honestly, it just kind of feels like some, for one, it's just not as easy, I suppose.
But you live a very active lifestyle, so if he doesn't work out, it's I'm still getting notifications on my watch. Andrew what's the word? Completed all your circles.
Yeah.
Closed, that's the word. Closed all his circles because he's doing so much working that. Yeah.
Yeah, but also we don't have room for a huge gym, and so we have.
It's hard for him to keep this up.
Well, we have some dumbbells, right? But we don't have a lot of room for large heavy weights, and so it's just hard for me to really feel like I could push myself with what weights we have here, and so sometimes it's hard to get motivated to do.
You do a plyo sometimes
I do,
at home.
yeah.
Actually, I should have mentioned that. Yeah.
And I can do arms and.
Yeah.
You shouldn't.
Just not the extent. No, I said I should have mentioned that you do actually do a plyometrics workout at home every couple
and
weeks.
I'll stretch at home every now and again, right? But
Yeah. It's too strong for the equipment we have in our house.
We just don't have room for weight. That's for sure.
Yeah. I noticed there was no mention of Santa Claus in your Christmas video. How do you approach that with society's emphasis on Santa?
We aren't like diabolically opposed to old Saint Nick. Like, hey, we watched plenty of movies with Santa Claus. I mean, the children definitely know that he's just an enjoyable part of the whole Christmas
He's a character,
season.
right? He's a Christmas character.
This isn't my idea, but somebody I read, like this Christmas, how somebody explained it best, that the whole idea of Santa Claus is the idea that like somebody gets a gift and there's no one really to get the gratitude for it. It is just the gift giving with no expectation of any sort of return. I like that.
But we've never taught our kids.
It's just, he doesn't play a big part in our Christmas, but I'm not going to pretend like...
Oh yeah, like we'll do pictures
like
with
the
Santa
worst
Claus
thing ever.
and
Yes.
whatever. Yeah. Wesley actually did believe in Santa Claus until this year. We never told him he was real, but he would say, "Yep, Santa Claus is coming," and we're just like, whatever. If you want to believe that, that's fine. I don't take the credit for like teaching him that there is a Santa Claus, so that's his choice. Is there something on both of your life bucket lists? That's a good question. I probably should have a bucket list. I feel like my life is so just full with like this is my stage of life right now. But
I mean, honestly, hey, if I would put a bucket list out there, like I feel like owning a farm is on my bucket list. Like owning some land, enough land to go walking around on. That's kind of
love that.
really all my bucket list.
It is, yeah. It's like your main goal in life.
Yeah.
Favorite books or current reads, fiction and non-fiction? Definitely you're not reading any fiction.
No, I don't.
Where's the book you're reading right now?
It's upstairs. I'm not I just don't spend much time reading nonfiction. So I don't know why, but I used to.
Reading non-fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, reading fiction.
Fiction.
Sorry, I messed that up. Reading fiction. I don't read much fiction.
Yeah.
So I pretty well
you kind of always have a non-fiction book going on.
All the reading I do is nonfiction. Just some sort of like self-help book, basically, or like how to learn how to do something better.
Yes. Right now he's reading like a financial book, right?
Yeah.
And you're also reading like a chicken farming book.
Becoming Your Own Banker, I think is the one I'm reading right now.
I don't think so.
I think so.
That's the black one. You're reading the one that has like, it's like orangish.
Oh.
Maybe we'll put a picture in here of what book Andrew's reading right now. Show that I'm right, that it's not.
No,
but Becoming Your Own Banker is a good book.
It's not Becoming
It's
Your Own
like
Banker.
wealth something.
Yeah.
What's favorite meal? People want to know your favorite meal. Any more thoughts of a leather business?
Hey, we have like bounced the idea like a number of times.
Yeah.
I could not do like the marketing. And so like and Julie's like, well, I'll do the marketing. Like I'll figure it out. But I don't know. It's hard for me to pull the trigger sometimes, I suppose. Like I suppose it's because I don't enjoy any of that side of it. I enjoy making it. I enjoy like the solitude and just like making and working.
Yes, a leather business would be Andrew doing all the work with the leather. But there's so much on me that like it's not really Andrew that has to pull the trigger on this. It would be me just as much. So, like if I came to Andrew and was like, I figured it out. I know like where we're gonna list these things, what kind of things we're gonna make, how much we're gonna list it for, and all that stuff. He'd be like, okay, I can do it. But I could take that lead.
But also that doesn't seem like the easy side of it.
No.
Right.
But for Andrew to be like, okay, I'm ready to sell leather. Like there's so much of it that I don't know. Like I don't know what things are, I'd have to look into what to charge, like the price for these things. It would be really expensive to ship things to the US. So like, do we want to ship to the US and pay or charge this much for shipping? Or do we just ship to Canada? Do we just go to local markets? Do we do belts? Do we do bags? Or what would sell better? Like there's just so much unknown that a lot of it is on me, not just Andrew.
Yeah.
Because we decided a long time ago, Andrew would do the work, the leather work, and I would do all the marketing. So it would be a two-person.
Yeah. We also don't have a huge space for like doing anything.
Yeah. His leather shop is in the corner of our bedroom. That's where he does all his work. So.
Much to Julie's dismay. It ends up being a desk piled high with scraps and half-done projects and that sort of thing. So
Yeah. I feel like this one could go on for a long time. Tips and tricks on raising meat birds and gardening. Very open-ended.
Yes, that is like, I don't even know what you want to talk about like that. I'm not really the person to ask about raising meat birds. Everything that I know, I have learned from like books or like YouTube. So like I have heavily watched John Soskovich and a lot of his YouTube for the whole meat birds thing. Like he does a great job. So it's one of those things like I don't know that I am an authority to be telling somebody how to do meat birds. I've done them twice. Like, well, 3 batches, 2 years. And I'm still like really kind of figuring it out.
You chart. Like,
I
where
do.
did you get
I
those
have
charting printables?
So that's all John Siskovich's stuff. I bought it
Oh, okay.
from him. Like
Oh, okay.
he makes the charts. He set it up.
He does like a daily.
He's done all the work. I just daily chart, kind of feeds and vitamins. We move them every day. Just it's very simple. I don't know. Like I haven't come up with anything new or impressive that I feel like I have to add to that whole thing of it. And for the plant side of thing, like gardening, I enjoy plants. So I enjoy growing things. So like right now I'm growing in our bedroom like a selection of prairie grasses that I collected seeds from our recent trip. And I've planted in there. They're growing underneath the desk.
I didn't even know what it was that you were growing in there. That's
so
what it is.
like it's just like I don't know. I just like seeing things grow, and so I'm always experimenting and growing things and like just practicing pruning, and I don't know. I like growing things, and so I just do it. And things die, and I try again. And
how do you balance? How do you balance each other out? We are very different personalities.
Yeah, we definitely are.
I'm organized, and Andrew's actually kind of organized too. Not to the extent of me.
No, so like I have like no time management skills. Mm-hmm. Like well, none, but very few.
I'm more outgoing. You're more
introverted. I'd be more emotional, and you're kind of calm.
That's true. Like if there was a tricky situation, like Andrew would be quicker to be like angry or upset by it, or I'm very laid back, easygoing.
I'm also a lot more assertive.
Yes, you are a lot more assertive. There is that. Or like any sort of confrontation, like me, no, thank you.
And it's not like and I'm just
Andrew
like I'm not the opposite.
No.
But like there's no back down.
You will not back down.
No, there's no. So it's just one of those things. I'm not looking for a fight, but any fight that comes, like I'm not walking away from it. Though.
Right.
Like I will walk into any sort of fight that comes up. But I don't know. We're a pretty good balance.
Yeah. Oh, I think so.
I think we've learned how our personalities kind of affect situations. We've learned to work together to try to like limit like the negative outcomes based on our personalities somewhat. Like we just automatically one of us will take the lead in different situations just to make it function better. Mm-hmm. I suppose it's taken us a while to get there. Maturity is learning to like that Julie is better at a number of things than I am. And so when I lead in those sort of situations, it just doesn't end up being as good.
Right.
And so took me a while to be like, well, it doesn't matter. I don't have to be in charge all the time. Because
it's not your strength.
Yes, if Julie's better at it, then I'm going to let her do it. Because it would take me more time and it would just end up not as good. And vice versa. It works both ways. But.
For sure. When and how did you get saved?
Me?
Yeah.
5 years old. I got saved. I was at church service. After the service, I asked my dad. We went to the Ford and I prayed, accept Jesus to be my savior.
We went to the Ford?
We went forward to the
Oh, I thought you said we went to the Ford.
Nope,
I
did
was
not
like, I
go to
don't
the Ford. No, we went forward.
I remember hearing this story.
It wasn't that far forward. Like we always sat front and center in
like
our church.
You prayed like at the
At
altar.
church, we prayed at the altar.
Yeah.
We went forward. My dad was with me, and I prayed, accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior. And it's one of those things, like, not to wax long on this. I know that's when I accepted Jesus as my Savior. There were some times where, like, you wonder, like, was that enough? Mm-hmm. But I think that's
when you
just
get
kind
saved
of
young.
yeah. But I think that's kind of just maturity, understanding that
the faith of a child.
Yeah, like it's not up to me. Like salvation is only me accepting it. I didn't have to. Like there was no enough.
Mm-hmm. No work.
Right. Like no enough.
Yeah. How old were you when you got married? So we were both 20. Andrew had just turned 20 3 months prior, and I was a month from being 21.
We were both too young to rent a vehicle.
Yes. We couldn't rent.
So we were gonna go to Calgary or to Banff.
Yeah.
We went to Pennsylvania instead.
Yeah.
Because
we
could drive. Because we could drive there.
Yeah. Big wedding or small wedding? So we both have big families.
Yeah.
Like immediate families. We also have very big extended families. So it had to be in a good sized church. I mean, it wasn't a big wedding, but we probably invited 175 maybe. Yeah. I'm sure we had 120 or it was a good size.
It was a good size. Now that being said, like our mothers made the meal. Mm-hmm. Your grandmother made the dress.
Yeah.
It was
pretty budget friendly.
It was super cheap.
We had our it was. I'm sure my parents didn't pay more than like $5,000. We had our reception in our church gym. We got married at our church. Like there was no cost at all for venue.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Who was interested first?
I think I was. Yeah, I think I definitely was.
I think you were too. But it was pretty like similar timing. I think.
Yeah.
Andrew was in grade 12. I was a year out of high school. Yeah. That we started being like interested in each other and kind of got to know each other better over the summer and started dating that fall. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you both equally frugal, or is one more of a spender and the other a saver? And then I'll just finish this question. Any tips on resolving conflict when one spouse is more frugal and the other just loves to spend because of, you only live once type of mindset? I'm a saver married to a spender, is what she says. I'm a saver married to a spender.
Yeah, that's the truth. That is the truth.
We've had to just meet in the middle, and Andrew is a spender, and so that can be a negative thing, but that can also be a positive thing. So Andrew is much more gracious with like giving to others too, whereas I would be more likely to be like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like stringent? What's the word I'm looking for? Stingy? Maybe. I am a giving person, I think, but in finances, you're more naturally willing to give.
Yeah.
I also run all of our finances, so I know our financial situation a lot better than Andrew does. But we've had to kind of meet in the middle. Yeah. Andrew's learned a lot about like being good with money.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah. But I agree with the whole you only live once, and so we haven't held back on like vacations. I mean, obviously making wise choices with our vacations, but we're not necessarily always saving up and having the cash for those vacations, realizing it's okay if we pay it off a little bit later. Now is the time to do this vacation. We're going to do it anyways.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tricky sort of thing, right? Because you only live once. Like the governments are destroying the value of the dollar so quickly in North America that like saving is a tricky thing as well. Mm-hmm. Like the amount of inflation has destroyed the value of any savings that people have had. That it's tricky to say that saving is always the most intelligent choice. I mean, it is tricky.
Mm-hmm. Complicated for sure.
It is complicated.
Do you have any favorite YouTube channels other than mine? Which Andrew does not watch my videos, so there's that.
I live these videos. Okay? Like, I don't need to watch them.
Okay, but he does like watching YouTube. So what videos do you like to watch?
Big Greg Judy fan. Green Pastures Farms. In case you want to learn about cows.
What else do you watch a lot? Aren't there a couple of YouTube channels you watch a lot?
I mean,
Like Joel Salatin or something?
I do. Joel Salatin doesn't really like put out YouTube videos. A lot of people like interview Joel Salatin.
Okay.
But he's not really like a content creator. Tick Creek Ranch. I've really enjoyed that one. Fella down in Texas. Making his own home out of his own logs, that sort of thing. Like my interests are usually gonna be some sort of like outdoors.
Yeah.
Just kind of living the lifestyle sort of thing.
This one's a little bit tricky. As a dad, how do you connect differently with the girls and the boys? Best tips for Christian dads leading sons and daughters in the way each needs. Sorry, I'm kind of laughing because I just know like that's not just a quick answer or an easy answer. I think sons and daughters for sure, but it's also just personalities, right? You find different ways to connect with different personalities.
Yes.
Like some of the kids you can just sit and chat. Simeon is one who I'm like, okay, if I need to connect with Simeon, I know I'm the mom, not the dad, but like you have to be doing something. Like if I go for a run with him, oh yeah, we'll chat. If we go shopping together, we'll chat. But just to sit there, it's like, that's not a way that we connect. Do you have anything else to say to that? It's kind of a tricky one. Leave that one.
Yeah, I don't
Sorry,
know.
Who was that? Holly. We didn't have a very good answer for that one.
Yeah, we didn't. Sorry, that's like, there's a lot to that one. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like every kid's different.
We have to have thought of this more. Yeah.
I suppose my underlying principle for like all of our kids is that they need to love Jesus and they need to know how to work hard. Other than that, I don't really, we try to work on I try to like encourage them to work on their strengths and help with some of the weaknesses.
And be the best that they can be in there as themselves. Like,
yeah.
I think some parents start to try to make their kids something that they're not when your kid is their specific personality and their, those characteristics, you can kind of fine tune those to be the best of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like
of who they already are. You're not going to change them, and that's harmful to try to change them into, this perfect box, right?
Yeah, and they're all different, right? And they're not going to be the same. And like to expect one to be as like quiet as the next is not going to happen. Or expect one to be as like industrious or athletic or like good at memorizing or good at singing. Like, it's not going to happen. And so like you just try to encourage them to do their best and let them understand that like sometimes it doesn't work out. It's fine.
Would you ever want another child? So
we actually just had this discussion
we did just
recently.
have this discussion.
Yeah.
So we don't.
No, we don't.
It's hard to say we don't want.
Yeah.
But we've decided our family is complete for sure.
Yes.
And if we did end up miraculously getting pregnant, then it would be like, well, I guess this was God's plan, and we're always very at peace with God's plan. So if that was God's plan, then obviously there's no regret, that's God's plan. But it's definitely not in our plan. Okay, let's finish up here. Our battery's almost dead and kids keep coming in wanting to be done outside. How do you have time for each other with the demands of kids and a house, finding a balance? And we are always having to find a balance too. And it changes, right?
Yeah.
From one week to the next, one day to the next, one season to the next. But for sure the evenings, we always find time for each other.
Yes.
Yeah. Kids go to bed and it's like and sometimes it is just sitting on the couch watching a movie together. Sometimes it's going for a walk and having good chats.
And honestly, sometimes it's just telling the kids to be quiet on a drive.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no, we're done talking with you. Like, you can just sit back there and look out the window and listen to music. Because, like, we're up here talking. Okay,
there's a couple big questions left. So, first, where did you learn leatherwork? That's a little question.
YouTube.
Okay, big questions. Are you in your forever home? No.
No.
Would you ever move from Canada? And do you ever... is it expensive to live in Canada?
So, yes and very yes.
This is something that's always on our minds because ever since COVID started, I'd say, we have somewhat of a desire to leave Canada.
Yeah. It's very socialist in Canada.
Yeah.
Like very much so. So much so that like it's hard to even see that it's socialist because it's just so socialist, and it has been for a long time. That you're just in the thick of it. You just don't even realize it until you go to, like, to the States, and you're just like, wow, yeah, it really is.
And there are places in the States too, but there are places that aren't.
Yeah.
And our federal government is very corrupt here, as it is in the U.S.
Yeah.
But it
has more authority though.
Yes.
The federal government has more authority than it does in the US.
It runs differently than the US.
Yeah, states have more actual authority.
Yeah. Whereas here, federal has the most authority by far, and provincial only has small authority.
Yeah, because Canada's a straight democracy. Like all power is kind of amalgamated to the federal government, whereas in a democratic republic like the US, like more power is actually kind of divvied out to actual states to run states like in different ways. Where you could you don't have to leave the country, you go to a different state and actually have more freedoms.
Right. Whereas here we don't have that.
And then it just gives more states like the desire to actually create like places of freedom and actually force them to kind of like actually listen to their constituents, because it's just easy to leave. Like, well, it's fine if you're gonna make taxes unbearable, we're just gonna go one state over, and you're gonna lose that like GDP ability, right? So.
And there are things we like here, and yes, our families are all here too.
Yeah.
But yes, to answer the second part of your question, it's very expensive to live here.
It is.
Very expensive. Like, I think we could live almost anywhere in the States besides the like the big cities and be mortgage free.
Yeah.
And not have a job. Right? So like it would be just there's a lot to figure out, and even just the ability to move, getting your like sponsorship or whatever you need to even move over the border. And so I don't know if it will happen. Like,
who knows?
I would say I'm quite certain that Ontario isn't our forever home. Even if it is somewhere else in Canada, I don't think it would be Ontario. So there's just a lot of, it's so hard. There are things we like and things we don't. Okay. Last question, and it's a lot of well, no, it's not a lot of parts. It's just kind of a big explanation, so I'll read it. Do you think it's harder to raise your children with the current state of Canada, wokeness, etc., compared to your generation? And what advice would you give to future parents raising their children in this hostile culture?
So, like, yes, it absolutely is. I don't know that everybody's figured that out yet. And so there's still a lot of people just kind of going into it, like, hoping that it's the same. Like, it's absolutely not the same.
Like, still, like, sending their kids to school, thinking,
like,
I went to school.
Well, I went to school, it's fine, right? Like, I went to school, I was a Christian, like, it's fine. Like, or I went to school, like, I went to the public education system, I turned out fine. Like, it's not. Now, was it great back then? It wasn't great. It's horrible now. It's just, and so that's where I am. I mean, a lot of people would talk about, like, oh, like, you're just trying to indoctrinate your kids. Well, either you're going to indoctrinate your kids or the government is going to. So you decide what you want to do. Would my stance on that.
Yes, people talk to, like, homeschooling families like you're, teaching your kids to have this bias or this, like, indoctrinating them, right? It's just like, do you think that they're in, like, a neutral place? Like, no, your kids are being indoctrinated by somebody. And so you get to choose by who, right?
They're my kids, so it's going to be us. Our kids, I should say.
Okay. Anything more on that? I feel like that's a pretty good place to stop.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Good job. We did it. Thank you for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, and, leave any comments down below. If you have anything to say to Andrew, you disagree with him, he won't back down from the confrontation. He might never know about I'll tell you the comments, but. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.